One of my better examples of transformative conflict occurred just this past year with Carlos Rodriguez, a student who heads a leadership team that I advise. Carlos is a gifted young man, and when I asked him to be the team leader, he was excited about it, but he'd never led a team before. He'd always been a doer. So he asked for a lot of input and really wanted me to help kind of support him in his leadership. So we worked on the leadership team together throughout the school year, but by the time March came around, Carlos opted to have an incredibly brave and vulnerable conversation with me. And oftentimes when we want to engage in conflict well, the feelings of courage and fear often kind of go together. But he said to me this, he said, "Ken, I'd like to ask that you not attend the next leadership meeting that we have." And he went on to explain that he felt like people are still looking to me as the primary leader, and he felt like he really needed to step into this leadership place and be seen more as the team lead, and that my presence there was interfering with that. I thought to myself, wow, how incredibly brave that Carlos is having this conversation with me, especially given the fact I'm twice his age, but he was very respectful. He said, "I hope it's okay I'm having this conversation with you." And at first, to be honest, it was a little bit difficult to hear, but I really respected how he's engaging me, and I listened, and we talked about it more, and I realized, he'd probably been feeling this since January, before we had this transformative conversation to try to figure out how to begin to change things. We talked through the conflict that Carlos was experiencing with me well, and I thought, you know what, he's right. I didn't need to attend the next meeting. And the results were fantastic. Carlos got his wings. He was already ingenious and creative, but he really took ownership of the team and led well, and I was able to get out of the way. And it was a great learning for me too as an advisor, because I want to empower students in their leadership, and it helped me think about how do I support them, but how do I not get in the way of their own growth? My frequent thought as the semester came to a close was, what if Carlos and I had had that conversation earlier? What if he would have talked to me sooner? What if I would have had the insight to see what was going on and notice it? But oftentimes that's how it is with conflict. It takes time, we're uncomfortable, we avoid having that conversation. You know how that works. But thankfully we got there and we were able to talk about it and work it through to a good outcome. There are skills we'll give you in this module, but even more than that, good transformative conflict depends upon the will and eyes of the heart. Will you see conflict as just a negative thing that you dance around through either avoiding or attacking someone? Or will you see it as a transformational opportunity to courageously lean into and to try to engage someone well or your team well in the midst of tension? That's our hope for you.